right, let's go. Let's get back into another episode of the Jovial Pursuit podcast. I'm here, comedian Jovi, and then we got our co-host Brandon. How we doing this week, Brandon?
Good. It's been a good week.
Good. What you drinking on?
Coffee.
Coffee. Ugh, tea.
Coffee.
Tea is the only way to go. Mind you, don't look at this latte protein shake ass. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
Which
the same.
tea? Which tea? Like what's the ultimate tea?
Oh, ultimate tea. I know the flavor's not great, but I like a good oolong.
Okay.
It's real strong in flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a once in a while. Like if I really need that punch kick up, if I'm going tea wise, that's my wake up tea. Although I like a bunch of herbal teas, give me a raspberry lemon zinger.
Okay.
Just with a little honey.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
It's real nice. You gotta have honey in pretty much every tea. I don't care. Like you have to have a little bit. I don't do sugar in my tea. As a child I did, but I'm an adult now. So I do a more complex sugar.
It's like, I've grown up. I'm no longer a child. No more of that for me.
And it's not in the bear bottle. First of all, respect me.
I like
just
the
a glass bottle with the dimples on the side for grip, because that's how you know arthritis.
That's
bro, because my elbow be locking up on cold days. So like, for real.
What?
I broke an elbow. Are you serious? I tell you, I have to wear a brace. I can't do exercises without a brace.
I literally lock up still.
Say what?
I didn't realize it would still lock up, like on like certain days.
Oh, yeah, cold days in particular. When I want tea, hence the honey. This is not. It's a warm day, so just hold on. It's a warm day, so like I got looseness. I took my chondroitin medication this morning, so don't worry about it. Glucosamine, chondroitin, they're gonna treat you right. Old off rip. First of all, this whole story is old off rip. It comes with a bit of wisdom, but I'm like my knees hurt after squats. I'm not ready to put sleeves on my knees yet. I'm still holding out till 40, and I got a long way to go because I only turned 32 at the end of October. So
I don't know, man. Just go for it. Just rock it.
Yeah. No. See, you don't understand. I already have to submit enough.
Oh, come on. They're just sleeves. But
Sir, I have to wear compression boxers literally every day. Compression socks I'm supposed to wear every day.
Dude, we just started talking about like
compression vest. Like. I have a compression vest, so my heart doesn't trip me up when we're going up mountain slopes and stuff. Bro, it's not cool. I take a heart medication. I ain't 30. And I take a heart medication, bro. Chill out, okay? Don't disrespect me.
I'm just saying. We've already started talking about tea, and you know when you were like, I like a good oolong. I was with you in that, and like, yeah, oolong, yeah, all right, I got, yep, like that.
I'm actually
like surprised. That's where we're at. We're at. I got a whole bunch of tea out here where, like, the fact that we just started with like, man, yeah, good oolong. That's like the oldest. Like, and now we're talking about sleeves, and I'm like, yeah, do it. I've like worn like, all right, we're there. We're there.
I'm used to being roasted. So I'm expecting it. And I'm like, first of all, hold your boy, because I got diseases. Don't treat me this way. Come on now.
My wife likes to tell me that I'm aging into my personality.
That's the perfect descriptor. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because I've been told I got an old soul for a long time, and that bitch caught up to me.
So that's when we're like talking about oolong and like sleeves. I'm like, you want to have a nice oolong tea, like jump with a good book, and you're like, this is the life. Have a rocking chair on a porch.
Oh my goodness! On a nice fall day,
dude. No. All right, pick like dream house, porch, covered porch.
Oh,
raining
yeah,
outside.
no mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's what I mean. Like we're there. We're there.
Hush! No. Hold on. Wait, no, because I just told Tanner and Joe here when he was here, like, bro, we're 30. We're not that old, and here I am just feeding in. And like, no, this goes against my argument. I'm gonna need you to hush, Brandon, because they're gonna look. They watch this, so I'm gonna need you. Hey, hush.
I'm just saying, like we're there. Might as well own it. Like next thing, like we're gonna like go to like some sort of go where some like young kids are hanging out, like a skate park or something. Start throwing rocks at them and being like, back in our day.
Because when I tell you these kids don't use the hand signal when using their bike, it's getting me upset. Which way are you going? I need to know. Come on, you just gonna treat me like that? Oh,
it's a cold day.
I'm out here. Coming.
Can't do it.
While steering the bike. After I do 2, though, like you should know, I'm not doing 3. Give up. If you don't know where I'm going after that, that's on you. I know your car's got a video camera. I live in SoCal. There's a lot of Teslas out here. Fucking lot. And I know they be recording, so I'm like, y'all got the film. Y'all side did the thing. See, and my arm long as shit. So I'm like, it's like a school bus. Just
like, I mean, you know the St. Cloud area though. Like when you're biking, no one cares where you're going. Like
they
keep your head on a swivel. They're gonna hit you.
Oh, like, they don't care. All right. Speaking of bikes, let me tell you this story real quick because it got on my nerves and I got to get off my chest. And a couple of people know about it, but I'm still upset. So let me do it right now. I bought a bike, damn near $2,000. Bought a bike. It's an e-bike. It's a really good e-bike. Goes like 30 miles per hour. Your boy be whipping. You know, that was the name of the last bike was the Whip. This one's the Vista Cruiser because it's a big body. Oh, yeah, fat tires, all that. Vista Cruiser. And I'm a big fan of that 70s. So obvious. So I get the bike, didn't get the accessories that were supposed to come with the bike. That upset me. But I'm like, all right, it takes a little bit longer. I saw on their page, and the bike ships 2-3 business days. The other one, 7 to 10. All right, cool, whatever. I go out for one bike ride. Mind you, there was a whole like school shutdown that day. There was like cops all over the place. There was helicopters in the sky. I thought it was a shooting or something because that's the America we live in. But also, it was toxic waste. Some truck spilled in toxic waste, like messed some stuff up. 2 kids went to the hospital, but they're good. So props to them. So I'm going around, and apparently there's a tree or plant bush out here that drops its thorns and the hot weather, which we got to 105 degrees around this time, and I didn't see anything on the ground. But I finished my trip, and I get to this stop. I'm waiting at the light, and it's finally my turn to go. And I go to go off, and my tire like slips, like my ass slipped. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. All right, maybe I slipped on some stones or something. It's right at a turn, so you know a lot of stone accumulation. So I get to the next light right before I turn down my way, and I slip again, and I'm like, something's not right. And then I'm getting in my neighborhood, and I slip one last time, and I'm like, I'm sure I got a flat. I had this bike, but 4 days. 4 days. And I got a flat tire. I went out one trip, flat tire. So now I order tubes because now I got to learn how to put tubes in a bike. I ain't never done it before. No one ever taught me as a child. I ain't have a dad hold me, like, chill out. So I ain't never learned. So I do it on my own. Thankfully, YouTube's a thing. Appreciation. Also, I ordered what the website said was 2 heavy-duty tubes. All the other sizes and whatnot. Box gets here, 1 tube. 1 tube in the box. They don't change the image on the page from my screenshot from 2 tubes to 1. So I had to send that back in. Wait now another few days to get other tires because I'm trying to do this on the weekend. And in my community, the bike shops are closed on Sundays. Saturdays, it's a very short turnaround. But that's when I'm like out gallivanting the streets. So I ain't got time. So Tanner's here. We're doing that. I ain't got time to go to the bike shop. Sunday, they're closed. Ain't got time to do anything. Order them. Gets here. Now it's been damn near a month since I done rode this bike because it took me forever and a year to get these damn tubes on this bike. I went out the other day and then decided to do 20 miles. So that was cool.
Oh, sweet.
It was smooth. I jam a lot while biking. So that's why I know I'm still young because I be out. But also, can I call myself young? Because it might as well be an old uncle out here on some rollerblades, the way they be grooving.
Yeah,
like,
that
was me. That was me. I'd be on my bike. I'd be like pedaling. Like around curves and stuff. Because there's this one windy path. I'd be out here on some groove stuff. And of course, my music at the,
We're there. Just own it.
I'm an uncle, bro. I'm just one of them old uncles now.
No, you gotta be the cool uncle.
See, but everything that I described was not cool uncle.
Whoa, yeah, definitely. No, definitely cool uncle.
Cool old uncle.
I'm
an uncle with the 70s vibe, at the very least.
See, cool uncle.
I'll take it. Hey, big ups. Appreciation because you saw I was down.
Right.
All right, man. How are you doing this week? We were supposed to be talking about you. We talked about your tea and then completely got off you.
I'm all good. It's been a good week. It's been it's been good. Been pretty chill.
How's Minnesota's weather? Is it switching up finally?
It's rainy and it was like 60 degrees, and now this weekend it's gonna be like 80 degrees again. So it's like a final hurrah to summer. But it's nice. It's good.
That's what's up. Yeah, it's been back and forth this week too, where it was kind of slow or kind of cold, dreary the first half of the week, but it's kind of picked back up again there too, where it's like 90 today or something like that, down from like 72 or up from 72. So
dang,
a big shift. So maybe we'll go to the beach this week. We'll see, get the last little bit out there,
Oh yeah. For sure.
Random thought of the week. What you got for me? What's your most random thought this week?
This
might as well be insured. What am I talking about? I've been
old
since been old. My drink recognizing I've been old since been old. This might as well be insured, bro. Like
it looks like the same. Yeah, like some fiber in there.
Chill out. Like... Get back to your randoms. Nah, bro. You got me in the mix.
No. Random thought of the week. I don't know that there was too many random thoughts. I was at like a training on some new substance abuse trends. And so like there's like a new drug that they're seeing interacting a little bit on the streets here that Narcan won't even touch. So
Heard of something. It's not the Special K, is it? Or the crocodile thing? The one that's eating faces and
there
all that? Like not the people, but it's like deteriorating their face and all that rapid.
it might be that one. They called it Zala at the training or Zaza. It's another one.
Oh, it's definitely not Zaza because that's just fire weed. It can't be Zaza.
It's just fireworks.
It's not. It can't be that.
No, it's not.
From experience, it couldn't be that.
Yeah. No, but like they were just talking about like just tell people heads up because like if you go and you OD like Narcan, we can't like we got nothing to bring you back.
Is it that fentanyl based one?
It's like a similar. They described it kind of like as a similar sort of fentanyl base with some different changes to it.
Yeah,
But
nah. I've there's a lot of conspiracies going around with some of that as far as like who's been able to manipulate fentanyl to such a level and then put it on the streets where people who've been doing heavy hard drugs for literal decades are dying after one or two times on it, and that kind of says something. I don't want to feed too much into it because I don't think anyone should be doing these things, but it's one of those things. It's like the regular street people that can't be making it to this type of degree and it still be like of some pure quality that they're able to find. It's something's not adding up. So
so then
don't do drugs.
Yeah. But the conspiracy is just like someone's like using it as like a weapon, like
to combat homelessness.
Ooh, that's
because
brutal.
a lot of homeless people will end up turning to drugs as some relief factor, and it's an easy way to start marking off people.
I hope that's like one of those ones where I'm like, I hope we're not there as society.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But
yeah. But at the same time, you could be like, I could see some people take
very, very much a grit teeth sort of thing where I really want to be wrong. I do.
What's your random thought?
Okay.
Saw the look. Oh no.
So it kind of goes into my bad advice at the same time.
Oh, okay. All right.
So my bad advice was to challenge the largest person in a room to a dance off.
Okay.
All right, let me paint the picture real quick. I'm assuming you're in prison at this point. So you already made precarious decisions.
Hold on. The whole thing starts with challenge the biggest person in the room to dance off. And then it goes, and that advice is already starting with you're in prison.
I assume because, all right, they always say, fight the biggest person, baddest person in the room first to establish dominance. So if you challenge that person to a dance-off, I'm assuming they lift weights. They can't move with flexibility at all. So half of their dance moves off rip trash. They out here stuck doing some robot. I'm about to kill them. I'm about to kill him in the dance competition. But that leaves me wide open because this man lifts weights. And I'm probably going to get clubbed real quick. So it's kind of like my most random thought this week. But also, maybe don't challenge that person at the same time because this is bad advice.
Just find the biggest guy in prison and be like, you me dance off right now.
Right now. On some Peter Quill MCU type shit.
Oh gosh. And then he just clubs you. And then he's just like, no.
And okay. I'm just here. I'm just here.
You need to go to the hospital.
Take care of it. I need to go. Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
That was my most random thought this week.
All right.
Clearly leading into my bad advice. Because
there you go.
You'll probably end up hurt.
Like almost guaranteed.
I mean, unless you are so impressive, like on some Michael Jackson, Chris Brown type maneuveries, where it's like, you know what? I ain't gonna hold it. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. You all right. Dancing gives you some cool factor. So
okay.
You could persuade the crowd.
Now, didn't Chris Brown like have, I mean, did he, do you think he actually brought that advice to life and was like, I'm Chris Brown, and since I'm here, I challenge.
People knew who he was, and that kind of saved him for the most part. Because then he also ended up in the Blood Gang after that. And his life has been very tumultuous since. My man has, and rightfully so, has not recovered.
Yeah.
I don't listen to his music anymore. Like on R. Kelly type stuff. There's some things you just can't uphold. So
yeah,
those are two artists that for sure I just don't listen to anymore. Which is controversial in its own nature because they're like, you should be able to separate such and such artistry from antics. And I'm like, nah, because then you relate some of that to the songs. And it's like, I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. It's like, what you mean?
When did you write that?
Was it with Aaliyah when she was underage? Anywho, we're gonna move right past that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a good segue out of that. It's just a dark subject in and of itself.
It is.
Men and women piss me off.
Equally?
Yes.
All right.
It shouldn't be a world where it's not. I don't want to give bias one way or the other. So men and women piss me off because, quite frankly, a lot of the arguments are the same bullshit. Where it's like, oh, but you guys are this, this, and this. Oh, but on the other side, you guys do this, this, and this. Or I'm like, can we not admit that we all be big trash at all?
That's not something you see very often with humans, admitting when we're wrong and that we struggle.
It goes back to week 2 in accountability, where
dun dun dun.
Bro, we're all trash, like point blank, period. It's only on an individual level that any one of us is of better. And even then, we still got other faults that come on that because arrogance is always lurking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there was a situation that I had earlier this week where I had to connect some dots in where characters changed because of me. And it's one of those things where it still sucks, but it's like, if I truly want better for my surroundings, let alone just me, I got to be able to take that on the chin. So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm looking at this and I'm really trying to step outside and I'm seeing this and how it's affecting me. But let me look past where it's just affecting me. What may I have done to even bring it to this point? So that makes me backtrack a little bit further and see that some of my character actions at this point in time of my life projected me to be here. And no matter what I say or do about it, that's not going to change.
Yeah.
I acted this way, so this happened. Now I have to deal with this. Dealing with this valley and mountain peak situation where I have to recognize I was one of the mountain peaks, and everyone has to. Oh, my shit, banging crazy. Everyone has to recognize that they have mountain peaks where they are of the catalyst that's caused the avalanche. And then I'm on Facebook and Instagram this morning, which of course toxic places, but I see two different arguments under the same content creator. So of course he's playing both sides. Where one saying, you know, men are they're not the same as they used to be. They don't respect people and women like they used to at this point, where I'm like, all right, you're right and you're wrong. There are certain things that have happened within this time span that has brought us here.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to acknowledge those individual pieces. And if we can't, then we're only looking to answer our own self-view of why did I end up here? If you're willing to chop off stuff, that's because of personal affliction. And you're not trying to look at it of some objective force. Am I saying something that's agreeable at this point in time? I'm just wanting to know if my thought process is wild. I don't think it is.
No, it
but,
makes sense.
You know.
No, it makes sense.
So going from no longer chopping off pieces, I found myself again in this situation of, oh, I actually played a major part in this. What now can I do about it? Because again, that recognition lets you know that there's something that can be done. And or at the very least, if not physically done, acknowledgement of some sort as the payoff, as the hey, I did this, so let me fix it. And a lot of people within that conversation of men are XYZ cut off to the point of self-affliction. Same goes with men that came in 2 videos down, because there was one about bugs. It was like a centipede getting like in a fight with a praying mantis, and then a tarantula just came and like fucking out of nowhere. It was it blindsided me with the last bit. He's like, after he had his meal, he didn't know he was prey, and this tarantula just fucking out of nowhere. I was like, yo, what? I rewinded. I was like, what just happened? Because they just show the zoom in of eyes, and it's like, he was prey. Like, whoa. He hasn't been here in the whole 7 minutes that I've been watching this. What's up? But then 2 videos down, it was a man trying to say, you know, women don't take care of men like they used to in the same tip, where I'm like, all right, yes and no. On what reasons are these setups even there? If we can't acknowledge them, we're gonna get nowhere. Hence, men and women been pissing me off because they're at a standpoint of inacknowledgement.
Pointing fingers instead of looking at their own role in the dynamic, you mean?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, there's some control that you can place in this, but you choose not to. Because you know what? No one else sees anything wrong with this. Like, we're all fucked up. Like, can we acknowledge that we've all been duped in some regard of this and the third of social interactions? Like, we have to acknowledge some things.
Yeah. But how is someone supposed to acknowledge those things?
It starts at home.
What do you mean?
It starts at home. It starts, and not in your like building even. Your first home is your body. So you gotta sit down with yourself and be like, oh, are we doing everything as much as we say we can do? Or are we very much living a thoughts and prayers sort of situation where it's like how we see a lot of massive events and it's like, oh, thoughts and prayers to Ukraine or thoughts and prayers to Somalia or this, that, and the third, where it's like, but what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Sending those thoughts and prayers, admittedly, a kind gesture to think about for the millisecond that it's on your page, it's got to extend more than that, right?
Does it?
No. The answer to that is no. Do
so
I
then why
want
do
it
some
to?
people?
Yes.
Well, then so why do some people do it and other people don't, though?
You gave me the answer to that
Which is what?
because they don't know no better. The long and short is they don't know no better.
Well, maybe I don't know.
All right, there's a percentage of people, like you said, that don't know better exists.
Right.
So under that, I would assume the same plays into this, where some people just don't know that they can do more.
Sure, I can see that.
Which is bullshit. Because that's 100% a fucking fallacy, and you know you can do more. It's like seeing a homeless person on the street and knowing you got change in your pocket. And you be like, hey, no, God bless. I ain't got it, but God bless. You got 36 cents that you're never going to use. It's going to sit in a jar. And you're going to forget about it. You died and forgot about it because you had a heart attack and didn't pay attention to the signs in your own body. Again, pay attention to home first. That you completely look over where you could have helped this somebody else, or and that literally do the whole pay it forward situation of good begets good. When you acknowledge that, hey, when you have your catalyst, it kind of continues on that route. So yeah, there's a lot of evil in the world, and we are still in that line. But when you start breaking the chain and do a little good, you'd be like, hey, that felt real nice. As a matter of fact, I think I could do that again, maybe even double time.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really actually thinks they can't do anything more. There's a fear of doing more.
Yeah, but fear, like, what happens if you do more, though? Like,
what happens if you do less, though? Right. The lash out's clearly not at you, but I told y'all, men and women have pissed me off this week, so I'm feeling a little hot take-ish.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'm out here biting my lip and shit. I was like, anxiety, like, bro, y'all need to fucking get it together.
It's, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, and I think there's a lot of it that I think, I mean, I think there's sometimes where I wonder how much people are afraid of the vulnerability that it takes to actually own things and look in the mirror and just square up with yourself and go, not only am I not as good as I'm gonna pretend to be, I got a lot more work to do. And like, cause I don't know. Then you got to make sure it's almost like you got to have the support that you can trust, like the support system in play. Because otherwise, it's like how do you let down that guard and then do that work if someone's just gonna like take advantage of that?
My only answer is you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself to know there's a time and place for divulging these things and speaking upon certain matters. Where it's like you will open yourself up to attack if there's miscalculation, but also understand there's going to be miscalculation. You're not perfect.
Yeah.
But that will be a lesson on how to get you to a better timing schedule. On, all right, I'm trying to bring this up in an argument and they're not understanding. Maybe now's not the best time because now I brought it up and now they're lashing out. When if I took a moment to say, hey, now's not the time, let me do this when things have calmed down, maybe there can be a better conversation about it. You're a therapist. You're supposed to be saying the things. Why am I saying it?
Well, because the therapist doesn't always tell you what to think. Sometimes the therapist, like, I don't know, ask the question.
A good therapist would not tell you what to think. I feel like there are some that do lead a lot. And it's not the leading in the sense of self-revelation. It's you should think this way.
Yeah.
And although I do think people should think this way, how, again, you're not really saying much to like antithesis the situation. So I'm like, how much are you actually agreeing with me?
Well, it's one of those things. It's kind of one of those where I'm like, it's kind of a both and. Like, it's infuriating that there's the incongruence and the hypocrisy with what people are saying and doing, and at the same time, it's kind of like, but also, there's part of me that goes, it's a little tragic to see that there's people that can't own up to those things or can't hear feedback from others or can't like internalize that question. Like,
ooh, that's a different way of looking at it, because I typically just go with the angered, confused of how is it that you don't see this, and understanding that I got caught on. Am I smacking? It is one of those things that maybe I do take for granted. The ability of acknowledgement. Maybe I actually do take it for granted, because if I'm understanding correctly, like, and the tragedy of not knowing, I mean, seeing that as a cutoff, it does dramatize the situation a bit more.
Yeah.
And makes me look at my situation of wanting to understand or acknowledge to better as more of a gift than a curse, as I sometimes see it.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I'm gonna think on that this week.
Well, because the other point, like, look at it, right? Like, we're having like fairly deep conversations that some people don't have in their life, and talking about like, thoughts, meaning, purpose, like deep stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna put it out on the internet for all to see, and yet there's still part of us that doesn't like. I'm not worried about that, because I know that I got people that care, and that I could be raw and flawed and broken, and they're going to be with me no matter what. And that allows me then in turn to look in the mirror and know what I need to work on and own up to it, because I know that I'm not in self-protective mode. I get to actually, know, like, no, they're going to be not here no matter what. And because of that, I'm able able to then actually work on things.
Hmm.
And I tend to think like when people are extra hypocritical and they can't hear, they can't take those things in and really hear them or notice them or work on them or acknowledge them. For me, I just tend to go, oh, it's so tragic because because I don't know if you know what like the safe space is, or if you do you know that you're really loved and cared for, if you're still having to defend and protect yourself rather than own it.
Hmm. I ooh, you said something there. Um, and I'm recognizing a bit of my own arrogance and the situation because I did come from a position where I didn't know what a safe space was.
Mm-hmm.
I did come from that type of lock space. And I now no longer see myself within that system,
Mm-hmm.
and it's become blinding in its own fashion. Hmm. I think that's going to help me on some stuff this week. No, I think it's going to help me on some stuff this week.
Yeah.
Nah, because there are moments where you feel like, all right, I've got this motto: when you know better, you do better, which kind of just makes you forget about a lot of the past because you're just on this path to want to do better each time.
Yeah.
So you forget kind of like the shadow of the stairs that you even came up along the way.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the arrogance is held, is that shadow over, that fog over, where it's like you need to be able to see your past clearly and your present clearly to see any bit of your future, even at all.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because I mean, this is just more of my own story and journey. Like, I fully agree with the statement. Like, when you know better, you do better, or you need to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I think there has to be for me there's humility that has to come from the amount of times that I have been in situations where I've been in, I would I would have said like I would never, or I like how could someone do that? And then I find myself in that situation and I'm like,
Yeah. Bite
uh,
lip.
and then
Yeah.
you have to realize like sometimes you know better because you did the wrong thing or you didn't do better. And so having that sort of humility to be like, I get why someone would have those strong stances of this is not how this should be. But then also seeing like, but I am also a person that does those things. So
That's usually my go-to, is especially for the crowd that I have around me. I've been through a lot of the things that they had been through, and that's the reason I want to give advice, but it does take away from their journey and just trying to, excuse me, just trying to give answers all the time.
yeah.
Because I I also have the second motto of I don't want to see anyone go through what I went through,
Mm-hmm.
not without at least some help.
Yeah.
Where, again, going back to our second episode, I want to help too much, and that's something I gotta work on. Quite frankly, this week was a challenge. I did it, but this week was a bit of a challenge. Because it sent me spiraling a bit on my own side, but that lets me know that I still have a ways to go, and I maybe shouldn't be coaching on something that's still very much triggering to me.
Yeah.
You give what little advice you can, but also like don't go too far. especially if you're not down that side of the path or down that far the path anyway. You got to be at least able to walk with that person. You can't say just words and then project them forward, and now you're just caught in the lack. And that's the mishap that I had this week, that I wanted to say some things that projected forward, but kind of caught me on the back end. So given all that, man, humility is seemingly the theme that comes out of all of this, because as much as it started with me being just mad at men and women in general, it's like the humility to understand my position right now is what I need to recognize.
Yeah.
So, shoot, I'm gonna end it on that one, man. Hey, we got in there, like you said, on some conversations that are deep, where it's just like, hey, it's got to happen. Somebody's got to say it. So, all right, Brandon, we'll see you next time if my mouse was plugged in.
Like how you hold it up.
Dude, why do all the bad stuff happen at the end? I'd be like, all right, I said something good. Let's do it. Let's stop it right there. And then be like, you know what? And then your mouse died. You didn't pay attention to your mouse, and you messed up. All right, y'all. Shoot. Peace.